Hey, I'm Curtis Stoner. My next GMC trade secret is about one of my favourite things. It's puff pastry. Now, puff pastry is a really complicated thing to make. Let me show you what it is. It comes in sheets just like this when you buy it from the grocery store, usually in the freezer compartment, and it looks just like that. Now, I'll explain to you really quickly how to make it, only so you never attempt to do it at home. What you do is there's only 4 ingredients in puff pastry. You start off with some flour, some water and some salt. You turn that into a dough a little bit like a pie crust, and then you get a big chunk of butter. You sit that big chunk of butter right in the center, and then you fold the dough over. Then you use one of these, you hit it, right, you batter it out so it's nice and flat, then you roll it, then you fold it, and then you roll it and you fold it, and you roll it and you fold it, and it's a really complicated process. What you're basically trying to do is end up with hundreds and hundreds of layers of flour and butter. When that butter melts, it creates steam because it starts to boil. That steam rises the next layer of pastry, and then the same thing happens in the next one, and the next one, the next one, and before you know it, it puffs into something that looks just like that. There's one important thing. Buy all butter puff pastry. It's easily the best. Some of it will use margarine, but the good stuff uses all butter. So try and look out for that one. Okay, now I'm going to show you what to do with it. You just want to roll it out to the desired thickness. And that's pretty close to how you buy it. You don't need to roll it out very much at all. Spin it around and give it another quick roll in this direction. You don't want to work with it too much because, like any pastry, you're going to exercise the gluten in the flour and it's going to become tough and susceptible to shrinkage, which isn't what you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of little things. Of course, the easiest one is to get a big circle like that and cut yourself out of shape. The next thing that you can do is you can cut it into a different shape, like a rectangle. So you just want to cut your pastry, and you'll see when I cut the pastry, what I do is I just support it, just like that, as you go through, so it doesn't tear. Okay. So once you've got your rectangles, pop them onto some parchment paper or a silicone mat. Now, if you want to do something a little bit fancy, like this guy up here, this is called a vol au vent. Okay, now what a vol au vent means is it has higher sides, and then the center, you can actually push that back down once it's cooked, so it looks like that, and you can put things inside. To do that, what you need to do is get your biggest ring, cut yourself that big ring, okay, and then put that there, then cut yourself another big ring, like this. And then you're going to downsize in rings to, say, this. And you're going to cut that right in the middle. Okay. Then you take the outside of that and you place it on top of your other ring. All right, so when this one cooks, the outside's going to puff up more than the center, so you're going to be left with that kind of pastry bowl, if you like. Now, just to stick them together, all you do is you get a little bit of egg, take yourself a pastry brush, just around the outside like that, and then stick that one onto there, so they will cook together. You might want to pick it up with your scraper and place that on. Now, if you ever want something to not rise, all that you do is you place some more paper on top, and you just sit the tray over the top of it like that, and then it's going to stay nice and flat. So this is great if you're doing something like a tomato and goat cheese tart. You could just slice some tomatoes, place it over, bit of cheese, pop it back in the oven to warm it up, and you're ready to serve. If you wanted it to puff up and be nice and light, I love doing things like this because you could do, say, a casserole if you're doing a beef stew, and then you could serve it in a big bowl and just sit that on the side, and it kind of serves the purposes the same as a piece of crusty bread. So you get the great flavour from the puff pastry, but also that delicious texture. So what do you do with your vol au vent once you've made it? So if you wanted to do something savoury, you could make like a chicken and mushroom kind of pie filling and spoon that into there. Or if you want to do something sweet, first I'm going to get a little bit of raspberry jam, okay, and smear that around. Then I've got some apples here that I just cooked in a little bit of caramel. I'm going to fill that up. And then just top it off with a wee bit of cream. So there you go. All you need to know about puff pastry. I'm Curtis Stone, and that's your GMC trade secret.